And do you have anything you'd want to say about our state's 70% recidivism rate?
We don't do anything with them when they're there. I mean, there is no behavior change. I mean, I mean, I'm probably like everybody else. I hear every once in a while there's a small program, and it seems to have success rate, or it's maybe working with mothers who have children who are incarcerated. Or I did participate. I didn't do it last year. I did it the year before on the program Get on the Bus, and their claim is that those inmates who participate in that program, their recidivism rate is much less, because that they keep connections with their family, so that they feel like they have, while they're in prison, they feel like they have something to live for. There's something there. There might be something counting on them when they get out, so that there's still, something there. And I didn't do it last year because I was ill, but I have never experienced anything as heart-wrenching as that. It was just, you saw inmates who had not seen their child ever. The kid is 2, and they're coming to see mom's bringing them to see daddy, and the kid is like scared, frightened, like, who's this man that you're exposing me to? It's his father, but he hasn't. He's had no contact. I saw little kids grab their fathers and never let them go in 4 hours. They never would just not let them, not be touched. They had to cling to them because it was like daddy. And I saw grandpas who were, seeing their grandchildren for the first time. It was truly one of the most sad things I had ever seen. I mean, it was good in a good way. I mean, because obviously this was working. You saw, because it was a long visit. It was about, they actually stayed there probably a little bit more than 4 hours, but you saw that initial excitement. I get to see daddy, or in this case it was dad. There were no moms. It was dads. And then you could see that after like an hour, they didn't know what to say to each other anymore. They the little chit chat that they could manage, it was gone. And you would see some of them kind of like, they had games available, board games, so you'd see them, playing something to try to get, to keep engaged. Or the kids were allowed to, make little plate cartoon things, and the dads could take them back to their cell, and they were allowed to put them on the wall. I guess they don't allow them to put anything on the wall, but if the kid made something there that day, they could do that. It's, I'm sure some of them were in there for horrendous things. I mean, I'm sure. On the other hand, it kind of made you see them as, they're people, and they have lives, and they have families, and they need assistance to connect back to their support system. To have, who gives therapy to these children when, or a mother and a kid who have tried to support this person that's been in prison, that's dad, the husband, and who's giving therapy and support to this family to make a good integration? Why isn't there? I mean, that's why there's recidivism. I mean, there's nothing there. They drop them here. Well, let's pick you up at the prison gates, and now you're with us, and you haven't been with us in 7 years. I mean, what do you do? It's just, you realize why it all doesn't work. Where's the discharge planning? Where's the discharge planning? Say, sir, where are you going to live when you leave here? Are you going back to your wife? We need to find you an alternative. There's none of that that's done. None of it. And so you've got this woman who's, maybe her man's been in prison, and you could tell at that day that she was kind of there taking him, the kids, but maybe she had moved on. How do you connect all of that with these people? It was the saddest thing I have ever experienced. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, isn't this great?" And my job as a licensed clinician was to be, on the bus going. So, if there started to be that anxiety stuff, I would deal with that. No, there wasn't a lot of anxiety when I got there. It seemed okay. People were doing all right. It was when they said, it's 45 minutes left, and then the stuff was really different in the room. And you could see people crying, kids just clinging on to their fathers and coming to pry them off, or families. This one mother actually, I thought, kind of in some ways did a good thing, but it's a little dishonest, saying, Daddy has to go back to work right now, so we have to let Daddy go to work. It was very, just very, very hard. I mean, very, very hard. And, I think that's why recidivism rate, it is clear. And I think if everybody could have that experience, I think if really in some ways, because I certainly had no clue. I think I'm a compassionate person, but for prison people, you kind of like, well, they kind of did something, but it's like I get that maybe not everybody is. Maybe there are innocent people there, but everybody kind of did some. But you realize it just humanizes the whole issue. They made a mistake. Do they have to pay forever? And can't we find some support net that will make that they can come back, and integrate into their lives again, make a life for themselves?